We are back. This is episode number 5 of the CyHawk Sports Podcast. I'm Dawson Livingston, joined by Braden Bankin. Bank, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I mean, I'm in a festive mood. We got Christmas in a couple days.
That's right.
We're
Holiday season.
Finally back again after we said
Yes.
we wouldn't leave and then proceeded to leave again.
We did say that. I'm not going to deny the fact, but
Listen, the milk was at the very back of the shelf. It was hard to reach, okay?
yeah. All right. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Iowa and Iowa State football and basketball, what we missed over the last few weeks. We're going to make our week 16, I think, locks, which is crazy to think that we're this far through the season. We're going to talk about some NFL teams if we really think they're contenders or not, because we're getting down to the playoffs. Talk about the NBA. Some teams have been really surprising. Some teams have been really disappointing. We both have trade proposals in the NBA that we think could benefit one team and make them really good. And then, more recently, all the COVID that's been happening in the NBA, which is causing some players who you will remember from a few years ago getting signed to 10-day contracts and all that. But first, we're starting off with what we always start off with. Iowa and Iowa State football. We'll start out with the football and then move over to the basketball side. Iowa, I think from the last time we recorded, was getting ready to play Nebraska that week. Beat Nebraska, then had Wisconsin lose to Minnesota, pushing Iowa in the Big Ten Championship. As an Iowa fan, Minnesota, why did you have to beat Wisconsin? You could have let Wisconsin win, so you didn't have to put us through that.
Oh, so now you're mad at Minnesota.
You know what?
Now that you drove all the way to Indianapolis,
I am no longer a fan of Minnesota.
Annihilated.
All jokes aside, obviously, unless you've been living under a rock in the state of Iowa, Iowa did make the Big Ten Championship and got beat, I would say, like by 39 points. So kind of a lot of points, but I don't know. It was still amazing that we got to go, considering the fact that we lost to back-to-back games to Purdue and Wisconsin. And I thought our season was over, so it was still really cool that we had the opportunity to go to that game. And even though we lost by 42-3. We're going to lose to a team that's in the college football playoff, which I don't think is that bad of a loss in my opinion. Like, the score might say otherwise, but to lose to a team that's in the college football playoff says something. But now, Iowa is in the Citrus Bowl. They're going to be playing Kentucky on January 1st, New Year's Day. I think it's at noon. And I think Kentucky's opening up at a 3-point favorite or a 2.5-point favorite. So, yeah, that's been Iowa football in the last, 4 weeks since the last time we've done an episode. Bank, you want to give us the rundown
on about a month?
You want to give us the rundown on Iowa State and what's happened since, I think, the day before Thanksgiving is when we recorded?
Yeah, I think as we were recording, I remember last time I said something about the fact that we were going to play TCU to try and compete for whatever bowl, and we ended up beating the brakes off of TCU, which was great to see. Not necessarily because I don't like TCU, but just because, anytime you can watch your team win by a lot is always a great time. But yeah, now we are getting ready to play in the Cheez-It Bowl against number 19, I believe, Clemson, on the 29th. I think they're number 19. I'm not entirely sure on that. You can correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, I think we are favored by a couple points. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I'm kind of just talking with absolutely no sources on what I'm saying, but I think
Clemson, I think you're right. They're ranked 19th in the playoff poll and in the AP top 25. And Iowa State, I think Iowa State's still favored in that game, which honestly I'm not shocked because I don't think Clemson's been good at all this year.
Yeah, no, I kind of thought Clemson died after they kind of just realized that their quarterback is not that great, but I guess they had a late season run and are back.
Someone said this to me, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but I don't even know how you say that. DJ Ugalele, whatever. I heard someone say DJ Poo, and I just cannot get that out of my head when I think of the Clemson quarterback. He certainly has been playing like poo-poo. I'm looking at the stats: 9 touchdowns, 9 picks.
Yeah, that's not good.
I think just over 50% completion percentage, so that is not good at all. So
For Clemson to go from the powerhouse that they were last year to go to this. I mean, I get you are losing Trevor Lawrence, who's probably one of the best, if not the best, college quarterback prospect that we've seen since at least Andrew Luck, if not Peyton Manning.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I get that there's gonna be a drop off, but I would not have expected that to be that far of a drop off.
Right. Especially because I think they were number, I want to say 2 or 3 last year. I think they played Ohio State and lost to Ohio State.
Yeah, I think they were 3. I think they ended up finishing 3 at least.
They were 2 or 3. They lost to Ohio State in the semifinals of the playoff, and I think Ohio State lost to Bama.
Yes.
So, I mean, they also did lose a lot of players. The number of players they lost: Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, a bunch of guys. But I don't know. I still feel like Iowa State can pull that one off. You're not going to win with DJ Poo, in my opinion. But that's just me.
I mean, it does suck that we're not going to have Breece Hall at that game.
True.
Because he did declare for the draft officially.
And
a bunch of other people have pretty much said that they're not coming back. There's a few that are. Will McDonald's coming back, which is huge. We have a really good recruiting class coming in this year.
Right. Oh, you just reminded me of recruiting.
Oh boy.
I think it was December 9th, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was December 9th.
The most highly rated football recruit in the state of Iowa committed to the University of Iowa, Xavier Nwagba. 5-star commit. Not trying to flex or anything, but hey, he's going to help out Iowa, and he's going to probably play his freshman year. I know he's enrolling early, so he's going up there in the spring semester. So he's going to get a full semester under his belt, and then he's going to start training. So we could see him get some serious playing time his freshman year. And plus, with Iowa, I don't want to say they're DBU, but they are, what's the word? Pick you. They will get so many interceptions on teams. They will force you to make errors. I think against, was it Maryland? We forced all the Maryland quarterbacks to throw 7 picks. Granted, Maryland's not that great of a team, but still, 7 picks in a football game is crazy number to me.
Yeah, that's definitely impressive for sure. Xavier definitely has potential to be one of, if not honestly, probably the best recruit, like NFL prospect to come out of Iowa if you guys can progress him well. Because
we take 2-star recruits and 3-star recruits. Heck, Iowa's best cornerback this year, Riley Moss, I think was a preferred walk-on from Ankeny Centennial, and now he's getting, I know he's going pro, or he's going to attempt to go pro this year, and he's leaving after this year, which he did have an extra year of eligibility, but decided to forego it. But he was a preferred walk-on. Desmond King was only a 2 or 3-star. I think Micah Hyde was only a 2 or 3-star. I mean, if they can turn those guys into Big Ten Defensive Back Player of the Year, it's going to be crazy to see what they do with Xavier.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Now onto the section I don't really want to talk about it, but I have to, is Iowa and Iowa State basketball. I can't remember how these two teams played, like when they played each other. I can't remember. Actually, I do remember. I don't want to remember how they played each other. Come on, this is your chance to gloat. Just do it. Gloat.
I mean, it kind of feels like a while ago, honestly, since they played.
I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think it's 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
That sounds about right, yeah. But yeah, it was definitely a good game for Iowa State. I'm not sure I can say the same for Iowa.
You know, it was not. But the good news is Jordan Bohannon's going to come back for his 8th year, and he's going to make sure he's going to win at Hilton his last game there. All jokes aside. But no, that would be some funny stuff if he could find a way to pull that off. I know he's already a 6-year senior. I know most Iowa State fans do not like Bohannon, but they were saying some gnarly stuff to him in that game. I don't know if the TV could pick it up, but inside Hilton, it was obnoxious what they were saying to him.
Pretty sure he had multiple shoes at least gestured in his direction.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, he did that to himself. All right. Granted, he did think his last time at Hilton was 2 years ago. He didn't think that the COVID year would happen, obviously, and he had the extra injury year. But that we played at Carver last year, so he didn't know he was going to come back to play at Hilton. But yeah, he did that to himself by leaving the shoes and then losing the next time. So he gets what he deserves, in my opinion. Like if I was as an Iowa fan, if like one of the Iowa State players did that, I'd be really, really pissed too. So that makes sense to me. You got any thoughts on Iowa State basketball? You're what, number 9 in the nation?
I believe we are number 9. We are one of 5 remaining undefeated teams in the nation. It feels good to be an Iowa State basketball fan, which is not something that I could say last year.
Yeah.
I think I saw like Steve Prohm went 0-18 last year, and TJ Otzelberger is currently 12-0.
I saw that stat too. He went 0-18 in 2021, and then sorry, I just lost his name. Steve. I don't want to mess his name up. What's
this year?
Yeah.
TJ Otzelberger.
TJ Otzelberger. Bro, he is a great coach so far. And I hate saying this as an Iowa fan, but I want Steve Prohm to come back. I don't want to play that every single year.
No.
I like when we play Steve Prohm, because Steve Prohm was like a guaranteed dub. We had beat you guys the last 3 years.
Hey, Prohm. Steve Prohm, it's been real. It's been fun, but I can't say it's been real fun. It had to be you, my boy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Iowa State fans didn't think he was that bad, because I think that first year that he was with you guys were really good, but didn't you also have like Montes?
Yeah, we also had
Yang.
I think so.
You had some good players after.
We definitely had some good players, and then we had some more come in that were good, like Tyrese Halliburton,
THT.
The THT, yeah. Like we've had some good talent come through, but just it never really amounted to anything.
They were great prospects, but you guys had like 1 or 2 really good prospects, but you guys definitely the last 2 years with Prohm, you guys never like gelled together as a team and never could really put something together.
And that's the big thing with TJ this year, is that he's really focusing on trying to build chemistry with the team, and you can just see it's just a night and day difference between last year and this year. Just the effort that the players are putting out.
Also, it's like an attitude thing, because last year, like you guys were like a laughing stock of the Big 12, and now you guys are like a powerhouse of the Big 12, up there with like Baylor, and who else is good in the Big 12 for basketball?
Kansas.
Kansas
is always good.
How
do you forget Kansas?
Well, I think of Baylor because they just won the national title. That's why I think of Baylor.
Okay, that's fair.
They just beat Gonzaga. They beat the brakes off of Gonzaga in the national title games. Okay, that's why I think of Baylor when I think of the Big 12 for basketball. Anyway, it's recency bias. I know it's not technically accurate because I know Kansas is better all the time. But when I think Big 12 basketball, I instantly think of Baylor because of what they did last year.
I can respect that.
But yeah, you guys are now like one of the upper teams in the Big 12, and it's like really interesting, like when both teams in the state of Iowa were really good. I mean, last year Iowa had their big run, lost in the second round of the tournament, but Iowa State was down here. Like the gap was so big, and now Iowa State's risen above Iowa, but the gap isn't as big as it was last year, I don't think, because both teams are still fairly solid.
Yeah, no, both teams can still hold their own in a match, but I mean,
I think you guys at this point are like a guaranteed tournament lock. I think Iowa's like a bubble team. I think we might be like either the last 4 in.
Yeah, we'll definitely at least either make at least make the tournament, if not maybe like round of 32, Sweet 16, maybe.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think because I don't know like what Iowa State fans are saying before the season, but were the expectations like
Oh,
this high off rip?
no, not even close.
Because
I
I
mean,
remember
coming into it, I mean, I kind of like stopped watching at a certain point because it just became like difficult to watch.
right.
Like I still obviously rooted for him, but it was just hard. It was just hard to watch Iowa State basketball. And like coming into this season, we got a rookie head coach. I
Yeah.
mean, well, not necessarily rookie because he's
Well,
been with the team in the
yeah.
past. But
But
I
as an
mean, it's
assistant,
just
being an
as an
assistant coach
assistant,
and being a
yeah.
head coach are like you're a
Like
coach.
he
Well,
was an assistant at Iowa State and then went to UNLV as the head coach and then came
Yeah.
here. But
But
and either way, a first year head coach at Iowa State, or we got a new guy in. You get the point.
you,
But and then we went
Yeah.
2-18 last year. There was zero expectation to do this.
and did you guys have like the same? I guess I didn't really follow you guys last year that much, as I should have. But are the guys you had last year? Are they pretty much the guys you have this year, or did you get like a bunch of transfers or a bunch of freshmen?
I know that like our two big. I know Tyrese Hunter is a freshman, and Isaiah Brockington was a transfer from Penn State.
Okay.
And those are our two.
I do remember
big
Brockington.
scorers.
Brockington is one of the people I did remember because he's played Iowa countless times, and I think he's been pretty good against Iowa when he was on Penn State.
But
It's
yeah,
just
those are
crazy to
probably
me.
our two like best players on the team. I would argue,
But
other
are
than
like
maybe like Kuntz or whoever you say his name.
are like the rest of you guys then just like players that were on the team last year?
I think so.
That's crazy. So it's like you had the talent last year. It's just wrong
Yeah,
coach.
we had the talent. It's just Steve Prohm's just not a good basketball coach.
I mean, he'll find his opportunity. I think.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Coaches don't
just not here.
They don't get fired and don't like disappear. Coaches will get fired and they'll find a new job. So you'll see his name pop back up eventually. But as of right now, I bet Iowa State fans are really pleased with the way their season is. You guys are what? 11-0? 12-0?
12-0. 12-0.
12-0. I think Iowa's 8-3, which honestly
It's
is about what 9-3. It's
I mean,
I'm gonna take that because our losses this year, at number 2 Purdue without our best player in Keegan Murray, then a home game that we lost by 4 to Illinois, which Illinois is still really good, and then to you guys. Outside of that, I'm really happy with the way my team's played. I mean, went on the road, beat Virginia, and then we're running the table so far against the teams we should beat. So then we start up Big Ten play on the 3rd, so gonna be interesting. Should we roll into the next topic?
I think it's about time for that. Yeah.
All right. Anything you want to bring up? What have we missed in the last few weeks when it comes to like NFL, NBA? Because it has been 4 weeks. Is there anything major that we've missed that we haven't been able to talk about off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, there's not really like a ton, really.
I know we're getting down to the playoffs in the NFL. I know it's like Christmas Day games are in 2 days for NBA, which is crazy to see. We do have Thursday night football tonight between Niners and Titans. Yeah, I don't think we really missed that much. I mean, obviously,
no, not really.
There's other stuff that we can talk about later. That's happened more recently, but off like the last few weeks, I mean, bowl game season's on right now, so there's a lot of football games. I saw the Idaho Potato Bowl, where the coach got dunked with French fries after they won the game. I think it was Wyoming that won, and I think he got dunked with French fries.
That sounds like the life right there.
It sounds amazing, but if all that grease and if you get on like nice clothes, you might have to throw those clothes out. But still, I saw that and that was super funny to me.
And now my expectations are for whoever wins the Cheez-It Bowl to get dunked with cheeses.
There you go. You know, that might be a thing. Because I know when you win the Orange Bowl, you get like the giant ass bowl full of oranges. So that should be implemented too. I like that. We need to bring that up. That needs to go to one of the higher ups in the college football. Whoever's in the Cheez-It Bowl gets dunked with Cheez-Its at the end. That is awesome.
Absolutely.
I don't even think there's any other bowl games that could really apply to that. I don't think not at the top of
Not
my
like
head.
directly, not like that.
Yeah, but
I mean, the only other thing I could maybe think of is like even me. No, unless you're dunked like salsa and
didn't
whoever wins the Fiesta Bowl.
isn't there like a Popeyes bowl? But like dumping fried chicken, that just seems wasteful.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously you don't want to waste like Cheez-Its or French fries, but nah, you don't dump
Fried,
Popeyes. Like you don't dump good fried chicken like that.
right. Yeah, I'm trying to look, but other than that, I don't really think we've missed that much. We've gone over our Iowa State's bowl game and Iowa's bowl game. I mean, you did when you said Brees Hall is sitting out. You reminded me that Iowa Tyler Goodson's sitting out, which that is like our entire offense right there.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot to say Brees Hall did get that touchdown against TCU, which broke the record.
Yeah, I saw he broke the record, which is great. So is it what 22 games in a row he's had a
24.
touchdown?
24 consecutive games, 2 straight seasons.
Jesus, and he was only a junior, right? He wasn't even a senior. Jesus.
Yeah, so from his sophomore year, actually, I don't know if they count. I don't know if they count bowl games into that.
I think they do.
Let's assume they do. Okay, so then he didn't against whoever was our first game of the year, and then from then on, to the end of his career,
Louisiana. It was the Raging
Cajuns. Yeah, and Brees Hall was hurt that game. I think was it him or no? It was Cole that was hurt. I'm not sure. Maybe both. Yeah. Hell, but yeah, from the Iowa game last year, or no, we didn't play last year. Did we? No, we didn't play.
There was no Iowa State game last year.
So from our second game last year up until now, he has had a touchdown in every single game that he's played in. That is
crazy to believe. That's crazy to me.
And he had like 4 against TCU. I mean,
I saw that. I was watching because that game was what, Black Friday?
Yeah.
Or was that Saturday?
No, that was Black Friday.
And yeah, I was watching it when we were celebrating Thanksgiving, and I'm like, holy crap! I thought he only had 1 or 2 touchdowns, and I look up and the TV says he has 4. I'm like, and he's got 300 total yards of offense. I'm like, holy crap! If that's one of his last games, that is a way to go out.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough that we don't get him in the bowl game, but I also appreciate that that's the last. He gets to go off on a high note.
That is the lasting memory you will have when you think of Brees Hall in an Iowa State football game.
When you think of Brees Hall in an Iowa State jersey, you will think of him breaking the NCAA consecutive games with the touchdown record and having 300 total yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how you want to go out.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for wanting to sit out the bowl game, but I am upset that he will not.
Yeah. It obviously does suck because, I mean, the players are looking out for their future, but as a fan, you want them to play in your bowl game because it means something to win a bowl game. Most bowl games, they mean something when you win them. Like, when you guys won the PlayStation, was it Fiesta Bowl last year?
Yeah, the Fiesta Bowl.
That means something to a lot of programs. I hope Iowa wins the Citrus Bowl because it's a building block when you like try to get recruits. Like, hey, we won the Citrus Bowl, we won the Holiday Bowl, we won the Outback Bowl. Like, it just builds on your resume and builds on your history. Whereas some schools, like, oh god, most schools, if they have a disappointing season and go to like the Outback Bowl, wouldn't even think about it. They would be uninterested in all that. But I think like schools
like Alabama went to like the Outback Bowl. They'd be like, whatever. But like,
Alabama had was it 2 years ago, I think, where they didn't make the playoff, and they played. Was it the Outback Bowl?
I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that was the first. Was that the only year that they've ever not made the playoff?
Yeah, this is okay. So I was right with my memory. It was Bama versus Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. Which Alabama, if they make the Citrus Bowl, you're kind of upset because Alabama is supposed to be in the playoff every single year. Like, they are good enough where they could win the playoff like every single year. Obviously, there's some other great teams still, but like as an Alabama fan, you're not going to really watch the Citrus Bowl because that's a disappointing season. But for like teams like Iowa and Iowa State, the Citrus Bowl that means a lot. It means you got to win 9 games to get into that bowl.
Right.
All right, should we just roll into the next topic?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we are getting into playoff season for the NFL, which is one of the best times of the year. You really get a figure, and this is about the time of the year, middle to late December, where you figure out which teams are legit. Like which teams can make that possible Super Bowl push. Because right now, like if you taken last year into account with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got hot at the right time and they got healthy at the right time. I think they lost to the Chiefs in the regular season, I didn't think they lost a game for the rest of the season. So it's about getting hot at the right time. And I'm looking at the AFC anyway, and there are after the from the first team to the 13th team in the AFC, they're separated by 3 games. 3 games, which is crazy to me. Because you got the Chiefs sitting at 10-4, number 1, and then the 13th team in the AFC is the Broncos at 7-7. It's just a bunch of teams. We're not like as of right now, the Ravens aren't making the playoffs. The Steelers aren't making the playoffs. The Raiders aren't making the playoffs. Dolphins, Browns, and Broncos are not making the playoffs. And the Bills, who we thought at the beginning, like middle of the season, were going to be the runaway top seed in the AFC, are now sitting at 7, tied with the Ravens right now for their playoff spot. Bank, if you had to pick a team right now out of the AFC and in the NFC, who are the 2 best teams? Or who is the best team in the AFC? Who's the best team in the NFC? If you had to put it right now.
I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, it's at the point where it's like, there's parity. There's parity in the NFL.
Which is good. Which is good. I like when there's parity. Good.
I also like when there's parity. But yeah, if I had to pick a best team in each conference, AFC, it's hard to not pick the Chiefs here. I mean, they totally, I'll just say it, they sucked at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah.
But they're back. I mean,
oh yeah.
As much as I don't want to admit it, because I don't want to boost your hubris even further, they're good. You are a fan of a good football team.
I think, was it our second or our third episode, and I remember Trey talking about the Chiefs are dead, and they're not making the playoffs this year. And then, I don't want to say I jump-started the win streak, but ever since I went to that Giants Monday night game, we haven't lost a game. If you catch my drift. I don't want to say I'm responsible for the win streak by any means, but I may have jump-started the win streak. We may have found our mojo in that game.
Yeah, Levi Stadium's a little far away for me to go to a Niner game.
Hey, if the Niners ever... Actually, the Niners wouldn't come to KC until, 2026? So, yeah.
Listen, if that happens, and both teams are good...
We got to make an effort.
We got to try to go to that, yeah.
So you said the Chiefs in the AFC. What about the NFC? The NFC is there are 5 juggernaut teams, and then it drops off.
The Packers, Cowboys, Bucks, Cardinals, Rams.
Yes. There are.
And right now it's hard to say that the Bucks and the Cardinals are the best team, because the Bucks just got shut out by the Saints,
right.
And the Cardinals just lost by 18 to the Lions. So, it's really between the Rams, the Cowboys, and the Packers. And again, I can't really say it's the Rams because they're not even the best team in they're not, standings-wise, they're not even the best team in their division. So,
right.
I would say that it's probably the Packers. I mean, the Packers are probably the best team in the division, or not the division. So they're the best team in the division, obviously, but they're the best team in the conference.
Yeah.
Pretty handily.
All right, so if you had to pick a team that, not the best team by any means in the conference, but pick one team from each conference that you don't want to play if you're one of those juggernauts. If you're the Chiefs or the Packers, you don't want to play this team. I got mine. I got my ideas for, if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, who is the one team I don't want to play? For me, it's the Los Angeles Chargers, because they can go score for score with the Chiefs. And their defense.
As we just saw them go score for score with
Monday
the
Night Football. They were dominating a lot of that game until the fourth quarter.
What's that? I thought that was Thursday. I think it was Thursday night. You
Yeah,
said
it was
Monday.
last Thursday. Oh, I'm sorry. It was last Thursday, so 1 week ago. The Chargers dominated the first 3 quarters of that football game. I would say so. Like, the Chiefs didn't really have any life until that fourth quarter rolls around, and they rattle off 21 points, and the rest is history. The Chargers, I'm going to be really honest. I don't think the Patriots are as good as we think. I think they got exposed in the freaking Colts game because if you force Mac Jones to throw the ball, I don't think he can beat you. Titans, they don't have Derrick Henry. They will get him back, I think, in a few weeks?
I think they'll get him back for the playoffs.
Which is good, but who knows if he's going to be like 100.
Who knows if they're going to make the playoffs at this point?
Yeah, they're on quite a bit of a losing streak in the last few games. The Bengals, I think it's a year too early for the Bengals. The Colts are scary with Jonathan Taylor and that team.
Yeah, if I'm the Chiefs, I'm almost scared of the Colts too, just because how dominant Jonathan Taylor's been since week 5.
Oh, it honestly, if the MVP wasn't such a quarterback award, he is the MVP in my opinion.
Yeah,
that team is not good without Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, you take any and all quarterbacks out of the MVP race because obviously the quarterback is the most valuable position on the field. But like, you take quarterbacks out of that race, it's far and away Jonathan Taylor, and I don't think it's close.
I think it's like this is a whole other discussion, but I think TJ Watt, if we're not including quarterbacks, I think TJ Watt is second or third in the MVP. If we're not including quarterbacks, like he's right behind Jonathan Taylor in my eyes. But you're right, Jonathan Taylor carries that team, and he's done a really good. What does he have? He's leading the league in rushing and in rushing yards. I think he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns.
Okay, I saw a stat. Jonathan Taylor is 5th in rushing yards in the NFL just after contact. He has 1,000 yards rushing after contact.
I saw that as well. And when I first saw that, I'm like, that's not right. How is someone have 1,000 yards after contact? Which, when you think of the Colts, you think they have this amazing. Well, they do have a great offensive line.
They do. They have an insane offensive line, but Jonathan Taylor is just that guy.
They got Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, Eric Fisher, who's been pretty solid for him.
Braden Smith has been good. I don't know if he's still around. Yeah.
And then their other guard, I can't think of the name off the top of my head. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, yeah.
But that whole offensive line has been really, really good. So when you think of that he has that many yards after contact is just an insane number to me. And then I look at the Bills. I don't think the Bills don't run the ball, and they don't want to run the ball. But when you're in the playoffs, you have to have a little bit of a run game. Not every game is going to be a shootout where it's not going to be 35-28. Not every playoff game is going to be like that. And I haven't seen the Bills have the ability to run the ball. Like when they played the Patriots, what was it? Would have been 2 weeks ago, Monday Night Football, when it was 14-10. The Patriots won.
I think so. Yeah, when it was like 50 mile an hour winds, and
I think Josh Allen still threw the ball 30 or 40 times in that win. Let me make sure my math is I'm thinking the right thing. Yeah, Josh Allen threw the ball 30 times in what was it, 40 mile an hour wind?
Yeah, it was crazy.
You cannot do that in the NFL. You have to have some run game. And you also can't have Josh Allen be your leading rusher, yardage-wise in that game. I think, they threw the ball 30 times. They ran the ball 25 times. It's got to be like 35 rush attempts and then maybe 15 pass attempts, in my opinion. You can't throw the ball that many times. I don't think they want to run the ball. I don't think they like to run the ball. So I can't trust them in the postseason. And Josh Allen hasn't been that great as of late. So that's when I think of the Bills. I really don't think they're that much of a contender. But if I had to pick the AFC, it is 100% the Colts and the Chargers that are the two teams that are like a serious threat to the Chiefs or the Patriots or one of those two teams. Those teams, the Colts or the Chargers, they could be possibly in the AFC Championship game, and I wouldn't be shocked about it. Either team. Then when you look at the NFC, you're gonna like this a lot, but I think the Niners have started to figure things out recently. They're starting to get that run game going. Jimmy G's playing really well. The Niners are a team that, if I'm like the Packers, I think did the Niners play the Packers this year? I think you guys did.
Yes, we did, and we lost on a Mason Crosby game-winning field goal.
That's right. But you almost won that game. So,
and that's when we were trying to figure things out again.
That's my point. That just validates my point. The Niners aren't going to win the division. The Cardinals and Rams are going to win. One of those teams. At this point,
yeah, we're not winning the division.
But the Niners are one of the teams that I think, if they made the conference chip, I wouldn't be that shocked. Yeah, it would shock some people. But, the Niners are the type of team that can go on the road to... Who would they play right now, as it stands?
They're the 6th seed, so I believe they would play the Buccaneers.
I wouldn't be shocked if they went to Tampa Bay and they beat the Bucs. I really wouldn't. Now, it would, in a lot of people's eyes, that'd be a huge upset. But the Niners are that type of team where they can pull off that upset. They can run the ball really well. They play really good defense. They can rush the passer. Jimmy G, when he doesn't turn the ball over and he makes good decisions and gets the ball out quick, and especially gets the ball to George Kittle, he's an above-average quarterback, possible, I don't want to say top 10 quarterback, but he's fringe top 10 when he doesn't make mistakes. He is fringe top 10 in my eyes. Fringe. So he's 11, 12, 13 when he doesn't force the ball and doesn't make mistakes. I know you might not agree with that as a Niners fan. I'm higher on Jimmy G than a lot of people. So that's why I think the Niners are a real scary team that I wouldn't want to play if I'm the Packers, the Cowboys, or the Bucs.
Yeah, and our biggest weapon is our run game. I mean, we have so many good running backs that can run the ball down your throat. And even if we don't want to have a running back do it, we could just say, screw it, give the ball to Deebo Samuel and let him get 8 yards on a run. I mean, it doesn't matter who we give the ball to. They can run the ball, get 3, 4, 5 every play.
There are certain players in the league that aren't, they have positions kind of, but they're not really what their position says. Deebo's a wide receiver, and he's a great wide receiver, but I don't consider Deebo as a wide receiver. I consider Deebo he's just a weapon. He can line up at running back, he can line up at slot receiver, can line up at your outside receiver. He can do anything for that Niners offense, which makes them that much scarier, and especially recently. George Kittle's been playing really well. You guys are starting to get Jimmy G, more touchdowns. They're starting to get the passing game involved. You're starting to gel things together. You guys play the Titans tonight. I think the Niners. I think you guys win that game. I genuinely
definitely can.
But do you have anything else to add when it comes to playoff standings or teams that could shock in the playoffs, AFC or NFC?
I mean, not really. I mean, the Vikings right now are the 7th seed. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles maybe take that spot, or maybe I don't know. I want to say the Saints could, but
the Saints are also a scary team. The way they lock down the Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. The Buccaneers better hope the Saints don't make the playoffs. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Tom Brady is 1-4 against the Saints the last 2 years.
And the one time that he beat him was in the playoffs.
But Drew Brees had 4 turnovers that game. That was Drew Brees' last game. That was the worst version of Drew Brees I've ever seen with my eyes. He had 3 picks and I think a fumble. And Brady didn't play that well. The defense could have won the game at the end, but if I'm the Bucs, I don't play the Saints are a team that has your number. I think Bruce Arians said it. You can't call this a division rival because the Saints have just been beating the Bucs too much recently to be considered a rivalry. The Saints have the Bucs number. Got anything else?
Not really.
All right. Let's move on into the NBA. We are but what did you say? A quarter into the season?
I'd say so. Yeah, I think
Or
we played
just over a quarter?
30 something games.
How many games
So
have we played?
a skosh bit over.
How many games have we played? 30 games.
NBA.
Yeah, 30 games. You're right.
Yeah.
So we have enough evidence to figure out which teams are good and which teams aren't good. Like which teams are going to be scary, which teams aren't going to be scary, which teams are exceeding expectations, which teams are like not exceeding expectations. They're going below expectations. So, I could be a little bit biased here. But I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, and this may be biased, are an actual scary playoff team. If when we're healthy, we don't have all of our guys in the COVID list, and we're not starting Taco Fall. No offense to Taco. I like Taco Fall. He's a great player. But he's not better than Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. When the Cavs have their full lineup of Garland, Okoro, Markkanen, Mobley, Allen, that team is legitimately scary. That team beat the brakes off the Bucks. That team beat off the Heat. That team demolished I know it's the Rockets, but still, to beat a team by almost 40 points is still pretty impressive. So I think, and this may be biased, the Cavs could possibly they could upset a team in the first round. I know, like, our standings right now, I think we're a little higher than we should be. I think
you're the 4 seed right now. I think
we're gonna hang around.
Probably end up finishing
the
around like.
I think the 6 seed. I don't think, or the possible playing tournament if we drop to 7, 8, 9, 10. But if we're the 6 seed,
6, 7, 8, and 9 are like a half a game away from 500.
Yeah.
So as long as you guys stay like above 500, we'll probably have like a 5 seed.
We are 2.5 games above the 6 seed right now. 2.5 games above. The 6 seed right now is the Wizards, who are 16 and 15, who just haven't been looking good recently. And then it goes Sixers, Celtics, Hornets, Raptors as 7, 8, 9, 10. Hold on. I just noticed this now. The Hawks, if the season ended today, wouldn't even make the play-in tournament. The Hawks. What is going on with Atlanta? I sorry to go off topic, but Atlanta is they've just been that bad this year? I thought they made the conference finals last year.
I haven't really been watching a ton of Atlanta basketball, but I mean, I guess. I mean,
I know Lance Stevenson played was it last night for him? Or 2 nights ago?
Probably last night.
I saw that Lance Stevenson got in the game. We'll get to the reason why that's happening later. But I know you've been wanting to talk about this, but all right, the floor is yours. Talk about your Chicago Bulls. I know you really want to. Team's doing well. The floor is yours.
All right. So Chicago, the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference right now. Granted, we have not played as many games as everybody else because we had to take a week off because, the entire team got COVID.
Right.
Which we can talk about that later. But, I mean, I expected us to do good things coming into this season, but even I was not expecting us to only be a game and a half back of the 1 seed. Like, that just is bonkers to me. The fact that, like, it's just weird to me to think that the Bulls are back. Like, I'm just so used to being disappointed by basketball, especially over the last couple years since Iowa State hasn't even been good. Yeah. Like, Chicago is freaking back, baby, and I could not be happier about it.
When Chicago does well, the league does well. Like, what was it, 2015, or was it 14-15 when you had Derrick Rose? I think it was the last year you guys maybe had Rose, Butler.
I think it was 14-15.
It's when you guys played the Cavs in the playoffs. Is the year? So it was 14-15.
It was the year that the last. Was that the series that Derrick Rose had that buzzer beater?
Yep.
Yeah.
But that was probably, now correct me if I'm wrong, that was like the last great Bulls team that year. I take that back, actually. You guys had the 1 year with like Dwayne Wade and Rondo, but that team.
I mean, we barely made the playoffs.
Yeah. But like your last great team in my eyes was that 14-15 team with Rose, Butler, Noah, I think Taj Gibson, Nikola
Yeah.
Mirotic when he was still in the league.
Oh, yeah.
But that was like your last great team. And then you had a couple years of struggling, but now you got veterans, you got young players, your team's playing well, you got a great coach, and the Bulls are back. I don't even think that's a hot take. That's not a bad take at all. That is a great take. The Bulls are back. I do think they are missing one piece to make them a serious title contender, but that doesn't discredit the fact that they're still back and they're still playing really, really good basketball, despite the fact that they've had some COVID issues as of late. You got anything to add on the Bulls?
No. I mean, I'm just a happy guy. What can I say?
Hey. When our teams are good in basketball, we're typically more happy. Now, if you would have told me this at the beginning of the season, I would have said, "What are you on? What are you smoking? Why would you say that?" If I told you at the beginning of the season that the Cleveland Cavaliers would have a better record than the LA Clippers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Denver Nuggets, the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Atlanta Hawks, would you have believed me?
No, I don't think I would have.
If I would have told you that the Cavs would be sitting at 4th in the East with 19 wins and 13 losses over the Lakers, who have 16-16 as their record.
Yeah, I think if you would have told me at the beginning of like sometime in like September or August that the Cavs, after playing 32 games, would be the 4 seed, I would tell you to calm down a bit on the narcotics.
I am a huge Cavs fan, and I was pretty high on them entering the season. But if you would have told me that this is like we'd be playing this good with Garland being a possible All-Star, with Jared Allen being a possible All-Star, and Evan Mobley being a Rookie of the Year candidate, I would have said, no way, that's not happening. We are a play-in team at best, but it's good when the Cavs are good.
Yeah, there's a screenshot that you have that's of me saying that the Bulls are going to win a championship within the next 3 years. I said that partially as a joke, but like there's some validity to that now.
You said that. I remember when I screenshotted that. You said that right after the Bulls got DeMar?
It was right after we got DeMar, yeah.
Yeah. Because you got Lonzo first and then DeMar. But yeah, I do have that screenshot. We'll see. Within 3 years, it could happen.
It could. At this point, if Vooch and DeRozan don't regress much further than they only get like a little bit worse, there's potential there.
You could also have guys like Lonzo step up and have a bigger scoring role if those guys decide to not regress. They obviously don't decide to regress themselves, but like they're not the same players they once were. You could ask like guys like Lonzo to have a bigger scoring role, or Kobe White to have a bigger scoring.
Who already does.
Yeah, but it's harder to ask for him to score more when he already averages 27 a game.
That's all right. Yeah, that's a good point.
But you get what I'm saying? Like the Bulls are set up for a good future because you guys have the veterans on your team of DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, like Derek Jones Jr., Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, and then you have the young guys, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, my boy.
Which it's weird for you to say that Lonzo Ball is a vet.
He's been in the league 5 years.
Yeah, like that doesn't click with me, man.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's 5 years. But yeah.
Okay. Don't make me feel old, man.
If I told you that, what was I going to say? I saw a thing. I was watching the Cavs Celtics game last night. Jaylen Brown's in his 6th year. Embiid is in his 8th year.
Okay, well, to be fair, Embiid didn't play his first 2 years.
Okay, that Jokic is in his 8th year. Kyrie is in, I think, year 10 or 11. Yeah. It's crazy to think when you actually realize how fast time goes. Like there's gonna be a day when we don't have LeBron or Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard or any of those superstars in the league anymore. I hope that day doesn't come soon. I hope we still have those guys in the league for a while. But it's just crazy to think how fast time goes during these seasons, because these seasons like fly. It wasn't that long ago that we started, like the season started in October, and now we're almost at the end of December. And now we're starting to figure out which teams are really, really good, which teams are not that good. All right. You got anything else to add before we roll into the next segment?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. So I had the idea of making a trade proposal for a team that can really put them over the top. Bank, would you like to discuss your trade proposal? Or maybe not put the team over the top, but makes the team significantly better and makes the other team better or younger or something like that. Bank, do you want to start off with your trade proposal?
I can. It's the one that we sent on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so this one is a Domantas Sabonis trade, which has been kind of picking up some steam as of late, since the Pacers basically just publicly said, oh yeah, by the way, we're rebuilding. Here's the players that we kind of are looking to trade. But yeah, it's Domantas Sabonis going to the Trailblazers. So you finally get Damian Lillard a little bit of help outside of just CJ McCollum. But yeah, Domantas Sabonis goes to the Trailblazers for Yusuf Nurkic, Anthony Simons, Nasir Little, and a 2024 first-round pick.
I really, really like that deal for both teams. I'm not going to lie. I think that's a great trade. Because if you're the Pacers, you get young and you get a first-round pick. And you get cheap. Because those guys aren't making that much money.
And yeah, I mean, Yusuf Nurkic is making like $12 million, but this is also the last year on his deal. You can either negotiate that, or I mean, you could even trade him for more assets if you want to.
And then for the Blazers, like a big three of Lillard, McCollum, and Sabonis. That's not a bad big three. That's like a top 10 big three in the league.
Yeah, and I mean, for a team that's currently sitting 10th in the league, or 10th in the Western Conference at 13-19, you don't really want to just like tank the rest of the year out, because that's another year of Damian Lillard you're losing out on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like that's a kind of a trade that you have to make if you can, to like move on from some younger guys and just get that big, more like firepower to be able to boost yourself back at least over the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
But
Timberwolves have been certainly exceeding expectations, and they've been actually pretty good to start the season. But yeah, you're right. The only thing that concerns me about that trade from like a scheme perspective is the defense. Sabonis, I'm going to be really honest, I don't think he plays that much defense. I don't watch every single Indiana Pacers game, so I can't say this with like...
I mean, Sabonis is pretty good at defense, but I think Miles Turner kind of carries the defense
Miles
on that
Turner
Pacers team.
Helps out Sabonis so much on defense. Miles Turner averages like 2.5 blocks a game. I think he's leading the league again in blocks per game, which I think is
I wouldn't be surprised.
Third or fourth year in a row he's done that. So, but I don't know. The defense is what's the only thing that scares me. But if you're the Blazers, you already don't play defense, and why not add more offense and get another playmaker in Sabonis, who I don't even consider like a center. I consider him like a tall point forward. The way
he's big.
He can handle the basketball, he can shoot the basketball, and he can pass the basketball. Like probably one of the better big men in the league, maybe outside of like Nikola Jokic, because he's in his own tier when it comes to that.
Yeah, Jokic is just in his own upper echelon of playmaking bigs.
Sabonis is a broke man's Sabonis is a broke man version of Nikola Jokic, if you really think about it. He's the Walmart version of Nikola Jokic.
Even got the European.
Yeah. They both play pretty similarly. They both there's a lot of similarities there. But again, Sabonis isn't the passer, isn't the rebounder, isn't the scorer that Jokic is. Because Jokic is on pace to get his second MVP. He's going to get back-to-back if he keeps his pace up. But
I mean, you might want to get the Nuggets higher than the 7th seed to be able to make an
But
MVP case. But I mean,
he's
he's having
having
a
a
good year.
he's having a better year than he won the MVP last year. Statistically, I think he has the best PER for an individual season ever this year. Which is crazy to think that he can beat his MVP year last year. But no, I really like that trade proposal that you had. Let me pull up mine real quick. So this one involves your Chicago Bulls, and it's a position that you guys, I think, really need right now, desperately. The Bulls get Jeremy Grant from the Pistons in exchange for Derrick Jones Jr., Patrick Williams, and a lottery-protected 2024 first-round pick.
Okay.
The Bulls get a power forward.
Definitely don't mind that.
The Pistons get younger. Like, obviously, Patrick Williams isn't going to play for a while this year. But you get him for next year. Derrick Jones Jr., you could either keep, trade, or do whatever. And the pick is lottery protected. So unless the Bulls are that bad in 2024, that pick's going to go to you guys or to the Pistons. But I don't know. I feel like this team needs a power forward. I feel like you guys are, like, your power forward, you don't have one. You were forcing...
We're playing Alex Caruso and Javonte Green at power forward right now.
Yeah, that doesn't work. That's not going to work for a while. So that's why I feel like a guy like Jeremy Grant, who can run the floor really, really well, would fit this Bulls team perfectly. And the only reason why I threw in Derrick Jones Jr. is I had to, in the trade machine, I had to make salaries match. Because in the trade, you got to make salaries match up. And I just threw the first round pick in there because I feel like the Bulls, or the Pistons, would want at least one first round pick for a guy like Jeremy Grant. So, as a Bulls fan, what do you think about that trade?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I don't really like that we give up Patrick Williams, but I mean, again, I understand that, like, if he's got to go, he's got to go. Like, I like Patrick Williams. He has potential to do a lot of good things, but right now with our current team, he doesn't really fit. Like, we're going to try to make him play power forward, and he's just simply not big enough to play power forward.
No. And I think this move, if you guys did it in real life, is a win now move. We are making a championship push for the next 1 to 2 years. Because you obviously get rid of the first round pick and you get rid of a young asset like Patrick Williams. I think this move could put you guys over the top. Obviously, like, Sabonis could go to the Bulls, but do the Bulls have enough assets to get a guy like Sabonis without having to trade all of their young talent away? I don't think.
I mean, if we were to trade for Sabonis, we'd probably have to give up Patrick Williams, probably Kobe White or Ayo. Like,
as a Bulls fan, would you want to get rid of all those young players for Sabonis?
I mean, it would definitely hurt.
It would hurt your future if you guys didn't like make a series,
win a championship.
Or at least make the conference finals or finals.
I mean, if we don't get a championship out of that, that'd be a huge disappointment to mortgage our future for a finals appearance. If that.
Right. I don't know. I also thought of other trades, like, as a Cavs fan, this might be biased. I also thought of an idea of Brandon Ingram going to the Cavs, but I couldn't get the salaries to match up. And I couldn't get, like, a good deal that both teams would agree upon. So I didn't do that trade, but I like this trade a lot because it's a win-win for both teams. The Pistons are obviously in a rebuild right now. They have their young point guard in Cade Cunningham. They have a good young center in Isaiah Stewart. Sadiq Bey is pretty good. Killian Hayes is a good backup point guard. And if you get a guy like Patrick Williams, it just adds to the young talent. And the potential for that Pistons team is just through the roof if you can get a guy like Patrick Williams. Yeah, anything to add on those trade proposals before we move into the last segment of this podcast?
No. I think no.
All right. So, unless you've been living under a rock the last, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks of watching the NBA, you would realize that there's a kind of a COVID outbreak going on in the NBA. I think it's the Omicron variant.
And the Omicron, yeah.
Yeah, it's affecting, like, a lot of teams. We've seen the Bulls postpone some games, the Cavs postpone some games, the Nets postpone some games, and we're seeing teams that only have 7 active players. So what they'll do is they'll go to either the G League, sign a veteran to a 10-day contract, or they'll ask someone out of retirement to sign a 10-day contract. We saw Joe Johnson get signed to a 10-day contract to the Celtics because the Celtics needed enough players. And I think he scored last night against the Cavs. I think
Yeah, he actually played and
scored.
Yeah.
We've seen that Lance Stevenson signed a 10-day with the Hawks. We saw Isaiah Thomas sign was it a 10-day or an official contract with
I think
the
it was
Lakers?
a 10-day with the Lakers.
And he's been playing really well for the Lakers.
I think last night or the night before he shot like 1 for 11.
But that first game that he played for them against the Timberwolves, I think he was their leading scorer. I could be wrong on that, but I think he was their leading scorer. Let me just double check to make sure I'm not.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I mean, Isaiah Thomas obviously still has some gas in the tank. I think he should be on a team on a long-term contract.
Yeah, he was the leading scorer, 19 points. But I don't know. It's just crazy to me that we see guys like Isaiah Thomas, who I thought was definitely not coming back into. I think once you get to
I thought Isaiah Thomas had a good shot at coming back, especially after he dropped 81 points in that rec game.
Yeah, but some players, they get to the point in their career where they're not good enough to even be role players, so they just like kind of fizzle out, and you don't really hear from them for a while. And so it's good to see guys like Lance Stevenson, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Johnson. Heck, we might see some. Am I missing any of the major like older players that have signed 10 days?
I can't really think of a ton more. I mean, there's a couple of like Knicks that signed some 10 days, I think.
Yeah.
But not anyone like blockbuster.
I'm trying to think. I know the Bulls signed Mac McClung, who was a stud college player and stud high school player.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Nice.
I'm trying to think. NBA. I know there's only been like a few teams with COVID outbreaks. The Cavs had one. They're missing like Jared Allen, Evan Mobley.
Sorry about that, by the way.
No. The Bulls had one. The Nets. Oh gosh, the Nets were missing a lot of players. It sounds like Kevin Durant won't play Christmas Day. Sounds like Harden won't play Christmas Day either. So this anticipated Lakers-Nets Christmas Day matchup is going to be extremely disappointing to most. It's going to be Isaiah Thomas versus Javon Carter. It's going to be Taylor Horton-Tucker versus Cameron Thomas. And Anthony Davis is out, so I don't even know. But it's crazy how COVID has affected the NBA the last, I'd say, 3 weeks. Because that's when the Bulls started to have some games getting postponed. And we've seen the spike in COVID cases. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. I mean, where COVID's back. Not that it left, but it's back.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. Do you have anything else you would like to add before we close this one out?
No, I think I've said my piece here.
All right. So, what day is it today? December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas, episode 5 of the CyHawk Sports Podcast. Braden Bankin was here, and I was here, and we are signing off. This is the CyHawk Sports Podcast.
See y'all next time.